Today we're going to learn about Microsoft Word 2007. This is a Word document. We're going to go ahead and close. This is what the Word icon looks like if you have a shortcut on your desktop, or if you've got it in your start menu, you can go this way, or you go through Programs, Microsoft Office, and then open Microsoft Office Word in the year that you have. Now keep in mind, most Word programs, Excel, the entire Office suite, it's updated, but they all do the same thing. A lot of the concepts are all the same. If you go to View, the tab at the top, you can change between print layout, kind of a print preview is what that full screen reading looks like, a web layout, which we won't get into, an outline view if you're writing a book or a in-depth manual, and then a draft. For the purpose of our demonstration, we're going to be using print layout. Under the show and hide feature, you've got rulers across the top and the bottom. Those will help you with tab and indentation settings. We're not going to cover those today either. You've got grid lines. I don't know why you would use these. It's there. Maybe if you're trying to center something. But in any case, we're going to go back to the Home tab. We're going to type in the title of my document. And then I'm going to show you how to manipulate the content here. This is mostly not going to be me talking, so I will pipe down while you watch me type here. So we're going to make this like a cover page. Essentially, the title is going to be the top subheading, a name, address, city, state, zip, and a phone number, which we'll put at the bottom of the page. Here's how we're going to lay this out. We're going to create another page, so I'm going to type in a page break here under Insert. That'll give us a second page in our document. So what we're going to do, besides scroll up and down, you got to remember I record these, and then I'm putting the voiceover in later when this was recorded a couple days ago. So we're going to take the title of the document. We're going to highlight it. You highlight by clicking and holding your mouse and dragging across the content, the text that you want to change. We're able to change the type, the typeface. You may not have the same ones that I do, so use what you like. The A with the up or the A with the down arrow is to increase and decrease the size of the content. You can also manually change the numbers. These are the justification. This is center. We want this to be centered. We're going to center everything on this page. We can put an underline in to give it more of a professional feel to it. There's other border options you have here, but for instance, to the left, which obviously makes no sense for what we're doing. So we're going to put the bottom border back in, and then we're going to set our subtitle. We're going to center this as well. And we're going to change the font. Again, you may not have the same options I do. There's a few resources on the internet. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's fonts.com is a good location for free fonts that you can freely download and install into your computer. So we're going to adjust the settings there. We're at 22 points. And we're going to just press the Enter key. That will give us a space. It'll double space us all. I'm sorry, it'll space and a half all the way down. We want to go just a little further. And you'll see if I highlight this, it'll show you the spaces that are there. We're not using the space bar. Never use the space bar to align any of your items. It's not the appropriate way to do it. If you try to change something later, or if you're going to copy and paste this content for a website, it just does not line up properly. If you highlight and then hover over, you'll see that pop-up menu. You can do a lot of neat things with. So we're going to make this bold. We're going to make phone number also bold. We're going to change the color of this too. And that's italicized, and this is underlining. There's keyboard shortcuts as well. We're not going to get into that. I want to keep this as simple as possible. It may take you a little bit longer to do it by longhand, but I'd like you to see how it's done with the mouse. It's easier to show. So we're going to change everything to red. But I want to change address, city, state, and zip to maybe a blue. And then the phone number we're going to change to another shade of blue, like a bluish gray here. And then we're going to continue on to our second page. And if you click on your second page, it should take you right to where my cursor was at, right here. And then we're going to add some more content here. Top of page 2. We can also use the highlight feature. And again, you do that by clicking, dragging over the text, so it's highlighted in this blue. And then here you'll see, if you hover over these tools, it'll say text highlight color. So we're going to select the drop down. We've got yellow, we've got green, we've got a color a turquoise. Okay, that's that color. I can't see that color, and I don't know what color that looks like. I'm going to spell bullet correctly, and we're going to make a bullet point. So if you're making a list, you can type out your items and then press the Enter key, not Shift and Enter, but Enter. We'll get into Shift and Enter later. And if you highlight it and you hover over the bullet options, you can either make bullet points, a numeric list, or you can actually hit the little drop down next to it and continue on. If you go from item 2 and then press Enter and then you type in item 3, it will advance that automatically. If you press the Enter key twice after item 4, it will take you back to the normal indentation without a bullet point. So we're just going to type continue your document, and then if you want to make a numbered list, create, scroll this up so you can see it, a numbered list. So we'll do, once again, item 1, item 2, item 3, and item 4. And if you highlight those, because of how they're entered, with the enter after 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, if I highlight and then type that, or click on the numbered list, I can change them. And then I can also change how I want it to appear. So we'll leave it like the 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to turn those two bullet points into columns, into 2 columns. You highlight the items you want to separate into columns. You click on the Page Layout tab, and then you click on Columns, and we're going to make 2. And you can make more than 2. You can make up to 4. It gets a little jammed up if you've got any real amount of content in it. So if I highlight it and I switch columns back to 1, it takes me back out of there, and off we go. But if I want to change it to, let's say, 3, it'll give you 3 columns worth of items. And then if I switch it back to 2, it cleans it back up, and then we can go on about our document. I like to add page borders. So under the page layout, if you click on page border, it will bring you to the page border tab. We're going to do it to the whole document, but you see here you can do it to particular sections of your document. But we're just going to keep it on the entire document. We're going to switch the setting to box. You've got different line types. We're going to keep it solid. We're going to change the color to, I don't know, maybe an orange or a red, a green. And then change the width to like a 4 or 6 point. That way it's got some meat to it. When you print it off, it looks a lot more dense. Otherwise you got this real thin, bizarre line, like it, nobody knows what you're dealing with. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. I mean, you use the program and click on things and, you know, make mistakes. And if you find that you're in a spot, you know, give us a call, let us know. We can walk you through this. It's no big deal. You can insert pictures from Google. Let's use a high-end sports car as an example. A lot of people want to use, you know, do a report for work or for, you know, one of their kids at school, and they want to always insert a picture, and people want to copy and use this god-awful method. But we're going to go to Google. We're going to type in high-end sports car, just like that. And then if you click on images on Google, it'll take you to all of the images for that relate to a high-end sports car. So we've got the normal Google search. Here at the top we have the images heading. And then we're just going to, I'm going to find something with a white background, because that way you don't have to worry about color matching, and it looks cleaner. You'll see here the 650 by 300, that's the resolution of the picture. Nice clean image, all white background, a little bit of gray in there, but that's okay. Just right click on the image, go down to copy image, which is usually in the middle of your option there. And then we're going to go back to our Word document. We're going to right click where we want to paste the picture. Press the Enter key. Down to a new line. We're just going to right click with the mouse and click on paste. We've already copied it, so we're going to paste it. And we'll give it a second to think, and there's our image. Nice, clean, got the white background. You can scale it up a little bit without getting too much distortion, but if you scale it down, usually you're better. Look for resolutions with higher numbers. That gives you a cleaner picture. We're going to center it by going to the Home tab and hitting the center. And then if we insert a caption, that'll give us like, you know, the caption on the picture, kind of like in a book would have it, where it's neatly right below the picture. So we'll say new label, and then we'll just say high-end sports car. And then we're going to hit OK. We're going to hit OK again. And there's our caption. So continuing on, we can go ahead and continue the document. And you've got a nice, neat picture right in the middle of your page. So we'll create another page break. And we're going to run through the styles. Now the styles are on the Home tab at the top of the screen, and then that'll change your, that's different than using your fonts. This actually is all preset by Microsoft. Yeah, they change a little from year to year, but I mean overall they're roughly the same. You've got title, and if you hover over subtitle, it changes it. So we'll use title on this page, but I don't like it over here. I want to center it. I can change this without changing the default title style. So it's kind of got that clean look. So as soon as I hit enter, it takes us back to normal, which is good. And then let's say we want to insert a piece of clip art. Clip art is built into Microsoft Word. So if you click on it, you'll see the item on the right here shows up. We're going to search for an airplane. Do you want to include additional clip art images from Microsoft Online? It doesn't matter. I just said yes. And we'll click on this blue thing here because it looks airplane and clean. And then if I click on the format, I can position this thing. This tool is a little bizarre because it really messes with the formatting of the page. So I would recommend staying away from that position. But if you do text wrapping, that's how it will allow you to wrap the text around there. If you do the option I selected here, you can kind of move it around over top of the document and then type around it. It's a little bit easier to do it that way, but make sure your typing goes around. You kind of manually have to go around that image. And if I press enter, you'll see that it doesn't move my image around. So if I go to insert and click on clip art again, it removes that. You can also insert shapes. You've got a good number of shapes here that you can use. We're just going to put in a basic arrow. We're going to aim it right at the airplane because I like airplanes. And then if I click on the insert tab again, I can insert a header and a footer. So if I insert a footer, we'll do a page number. It'll automatically put it into the footer here. And I like page X of Y. So that's page X, there's page X of Y. It inserts it right into the footer section. So as you advance in pages, it will automatically advance the page number. This doesn't print off this gray. When it prints it off like you saw it a minute ago. It's a darker, more rich look. This just shows you that it grays like that to show you that it's in the footer and not in the body of your document. And in the header, I can type in something that will be static, meaning it'll show up on every page. So if I scroll up here, you'll see on the second page, on the first page, it's in the very top of the document. Shows up on every page. So there's other things under quick parts here. I'm not going to get really into that because it's kind of more advanced than I wanted to get in this video, even though it's already quite an extensive video. Word art, you can play with all these. I'll show you how to do this simple one here. You click on word art, select the top one, a box will show up. We'll change the text here. I'm testing the word art. I can change the font and the size once again. And then this is kind of your end result. And you'll see under format at the top here, you got all kinds of options to choose from. So margins is the spacing around the outside of the page. By default, normally it's set to 1 inch. I work a lot with 1/2 inch. That's why it was set that way. Orientation, portrait is like a portrait picture. Landscape is a printing, so it's wider. We're going to switch it back. You'll see how it changed kind of the layout of everything. And then we switch back to portrait and you'll see everything's kind of back to normal. The size, you can print off in different sizes as long as your printer goes for it. We'll show you how to do a quick envelope here too. We've already kind of covered the columns and how those work. Watermark, if you want to print something with a watermark on it, you can. A cover page, we kind of did that manually. We don't have to go back and do that colored option, because if you do, it usually murders your ink and toner use. References, more of an advanced option. If you're doing a long document, this is where you would go. Mailings, a couple things you could do. You could do envelopes here, but that's kind of a onesie-twosie. Enter your delivery address. We'll just use something pretty generic. Probably should put a name in first. So your delivery address should actually say like a name. 123 Main Street would be your road, and then anywhere, comma, space, state, and then your zip code without the comma. And then the return address is going to print in the upper left-hand portion. This will help you in how to feed the envelope into your printer. But we were going to cover envelopes in a how to use your printer in a different video. So Weldon PC, 5829 Turney Road, Garfield Heights, Ohio, 44125. Will print in the upper left-hand corner. If you highlight these here and you right-click on those, you can also change the font. Here's how you feed. If I click print, it will, it's asking if I want to save that return address. I'm going to say yes. And then it'll print that envelope out. There is no next window. It just prints. So as soon as you hit it, you're kind of off into the races. The mail merge is pretty interesting. If you have a spreadsheet properly formatted, you can write a letter, and then every page of that letter will have a different address block on there. But the labels, it gets people into more trouble than it's worth. I would really cover that in a different video. But if you start the mail merge, we'll change pages here. Actually, if I hit the Alt, I, and then B for boy, it'll give us the page break. And there's the next page. So here's the date of our letter. Here's where we're going to do start the mail merge. So we're going to give the name, address of the person. We're going to type a list for part of this example. And then here you can watch me type again. Like watching paint dry, isn't it? I can hear the grass growing. And then we're going to type in one more name. New entry. And then we'll use some made up initials, our generic information. And then if we hit OK, it's going to ask where we want to save that list. So we're just going to date this. We'll save it on the desktop. And now we can select, so we're already set the letter. We've already selected our recipients. We use the existing list. If you already have one, this is what you click on. In this case, we're going to select that list again on the desktop that we typed. And then we're going to insert the address block. This is the formatting for an address block, which is good for the demonstration purpose that we're using. I want to select it without the Mr. or Mrs. We're going to insert the company name. And that's what it looks like if you take it out. Postal address removes the address, which I'm not sure why you do the mail merge at that point unless you've got some other ideas. Printing sequential numbers or something to that effect. And that's what the second person would look like. And this is what it looks like without printing it. Now, when you try to print here, it actually shows you just that address block. We don't want that. So we have to finish the mail merge. You kind of work from left to right on this, so we're going to hit preview results first. We should be hitting preview results first. And if we print them, it's only 2, so it's not that big of a deal. Print it to our normal printer. It'll run off everything with the appropriate names. Hit OK. So the preview results, that's what it would look like. That's the first page and the second page. And you're going to notice there's some carriage return issues. In other words, the spacing between the name, the company, the address is all improper. So to make an envelope, we'll open a blank document. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. And the first thing we're going to want to do is go to page layout, because we need to change the page page size. So page layout, we're going to switch it to a envelope number 10. And on Word it shows up as envelope COM10. We're in the wrong orientation, so we're going to change that to landscape. Kind of looks a little bit normal. We're going to change our margins to 1/2 inch to give us more area to work with. We're going to paste in our logo, and then we're going to add our return address. This is how you would make your own personalized envelopes. Going down to where I keep my logo. And I've got a couple different formats, and I know that this particular file works very well. So it's a PNG. Too big. Scale that puppy down. That brings us into what we're looking for. Change our text wrapping option so we can get the text to align properly to the right of that. I want the address on the right. You know, we'll switch it to the bottom. Just hit Shift and Enter on your keyboard. In normal text, we'll write 5829 Turney Road. Shift and Enter, Garfield Heights, Ohio, 44125. The Shift Enter gives us a carriage return. In other words, it will not space and a half or double space. It gives us that nice clean spacing there. If we change that in front of the text, it'll mess everything up. So if I press the Enter key and then align this a little too close, move it up a little, we're using the arrow key. Single click and using the arrow key, that kind of maneuvers the picture around. Nudge it over a little bit, click off of it, looking good. So if I hit just simply the Enter key twice, we'll do an attention line to our recipient, our company name, address line 1, address line 2. And then what we'll do is we're going to highlight all of this and then increase the indent. Now we're going to make this a little bit nicer looking first. Don't use, on envelopes, you should not use any kind of crazy fonts. Keep it very simple, very clean. That way the automatic mailing machines at the post office read everything properly. So if I highlight all this, I hover over, it says increase indent. That will move the entire block over. I click it about 7 times and it'll center it perfectly. I want to make my address bold. So we'll use a different font here. That looks good. So if I highlight that and we go to mailings and I click on recipient or start mail merge, we'll use the letter option here as well, but we're going to do this a little bit different. I'm actually going to use 64 names that we have in a spreadsheet to send out a mailing today. So we're going to use an existing list. We're going to go to my target organizations, the people that we are looking to hopefully get their IT business. Let me thumb through here and I'll find this. We're going to use that existing list. Sorry about the jump right there. There's my list. We're going to open it. There's several tabs, so we're just going to use the first. We're going to do a follow-up letter on the mailer that was sent out then. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this where it says recipient, and I'm going to select the name. So that's normal fields, the database field. We're just going to say, oh, you know what? I just remembered on that list we did not have people's names, just company names. So let me scroll through here. This is called mapping or field matching. We're not going to mess too much with this. This is pretty advanced for the purpose of what I'm trying to convey through this video. So we'll just hop out of here. So we're just going to insert that. We're going to actually insert all of these. Oh, let me get rid of that second name there. We're just going to go right down the list here. So we're going to go to the insert merge. We've already selected our recipient, where we're getting our information from. We're just going to double click on all of these to insert all of them. We'll hit close, and then we'll hit shift and enter, and then we'll have to add the spacing and the comma in there, because in the spreadsheet it doesn't have that spacing or the comma, so we have to tell the envelope we want that. So this would be a properly formatted envelope. And then once we do preview results, you'll see one of about 63, 64 results. So you see there, we're kind of flipping through, all properly formatted as long as they're in that spreadsheet properly. We do finish and merge. We're going to print the document. We got to make sure that our printer is properly set. So we're going to print all records. We're going to use our envelope printer. And we're just going to thumb through our properties here and make sure our properties are all okay. We're just going to print this thing and hope for the best. And this will take a second because there's 63, 64 of them. And I've kind of taken you really through how to do most of what we could possibly do here. We're just going to take our letterhead here. We're going to delete. We were doing these one by one. So if you highlight something and you press Alt-I-T, one after the other, not all together, gives you the appropriate date. We're just going to hit our mail merge again. So go to mailings, start mail merge. We're going to select letter again. We're going to select our recipients again. We're going to use an existing list. Waiting for our computer to catch up. We're going to find our list, our spreadsheet of people that we're going to use. Target organization. Select. We're going to use that tab and hit OK. So we're going to delete that information. We're going to insert the address block. Hit OK. Delete all the old information. Use a carriage returner 2. And then we're just going to say to whom it may concern. And then just to follow up with you, and this is the rest of my form letter on my letterhead. Preview our results, flip through a few of them to make sure that everything went through okay. Sometimes you get this weird thing where it looks like Swahili, or it like gets 1 out of your 100 items. We're going to hit finish and merge, go to our printer that we're going to select, and then we're going to run these off. We're going to get 64 different letters addressed to 64 or 63 different people, which is exactly what we're looking for. That takes a minute. And like I said, thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook or other social media, please go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to us, like us, share us with your friends. We're not really monetizing these videos. I have no interest in doing that, really. If your computer breaks, I just want you to think of us. Subscribe, like, and thank you for your support. Have a good night, and hope to see you soon.